Hey y'all, it's Sharon and I'm back to share another policing experience with you guys. If you're new to the channel, I am retired. I worked for 20 years for a southeastern city here in the US. 11 of those years I was a detective. I was also in the military, and I'm sharing my policing experiences, if you will, with someone in hopes of helping other people. With that being said, I was doing some Bible study and I came across the verse, John chapter 1, verses 45 and 46. And Nathaniel said, "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" And that made me reflect back on one of my policing experiences. But for the folks that don't know, Nazareth is the childhood home of Jesus Christ. For those of us that believe in the finished works of Christ, that was his childhood home. And Nazareth was known as a lowly place, high crime and things like that. And that made me reflect back to my policing experience. And we heard the terms high crime area. It's not a good neighborhood. And so I'm like, wow, for a hot minute, it just took me back. And the glory days of running and gunning, if you will, when they talked about it. And we were going to go to these high crime areas and get the bad guys. But in the Bible story that I was reading, he said, "Can anything good come from it?" And that made me reflect back on how I looked at the neighborhood when I first came on, the high crime areas, the poor areas. And I looked at it in such a way that I grouped everybody in there as being bad. I'm going to admit it. They had a problem and I'm there to fix it. The arrogance. Wow. But yeah, I did think that. And so now that as I reflect back, I met a lot of good folks, a lot of good people in there. I would venture to say maybe 1.5% of the folks in there are knuckleheads and they're doing crimes to get by or make a dollar. And the majority of the folks are really good people. They want the same things we want, or I should say I want, a good life for your family, a safe place for your family. But early in my policing career, I did group everybody in the high crime area as being suspect, if you will, to say the least. And when I think back to the Bible story and Nathaniel asking that question, Jesus came from an area like that. And like I said, for us that believe, he is the greatest thing to ever come out of a high crime area, a bad area, if you will. And now, like I said, I reflect back now, getting through my policing career and training and developing and just getting to know the folks. There's a lot of good people in these high crime areas. I'm not saying they don't exist anywhere else, but when we say high crime, we tend to lower their humanness. And then you can go in there, for those of us that carry the biases that I talked about. You don't see them quite as human as you. And then you tend to abuse, talk to any kind of way, talk too rough, deal with the kids roughly instead of having empathy and sympathy and some compassion. We tend to do that. I admit it, yes. I spoke harsh, if you will. I didn't put any sympathy or love between my words sometimes. And I realized that early on. And hopefully, like I said, this helps someone, but I just want to keep it short. Can anything good come from a high crime area? Definitely. We have plenty of examples of celebrities, if you will, and people that you know. Again, it's just something to reflect on, and how in policing, we tend to target those areas. I talked about that in the last video. If you target an area, and I was on a unit where we had at least 6 to 8 people. We go in there and we're getting the bad guys. But then there are 4 or 5 other units saturating that same area, getting rid of the bad guys. And then we wonder why it's dilapidated and it's run down. Some of that is our doing. And I was very instrumental in that, I'll admit it. Not looking at it from another perspective. And hopefully this perspective provides you a little more open view, if you will. All right, you guys? And as I always say, you don't necessarily have to go through a thing to learn from it. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, I just want to remind you that we have an online store. The link is in the description. And I also provided links for some notebooks that I created. The links are in the description. Go ahead and check it out. And hit like and subscribe if you find the information interesting. And comment below. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.